Orla. Minister, I rise and I will say again that housing is the #1 issue affecting my generation. It was the biggest issue by far and away for me on the doors, whether it was speaking to people my own age, getting messages from people on social media saying that they would love to be able to come home and afford a home, or parents when I knocked on the doors and said that their adult children were still living at home, as I am also, or grandparents worried about their grandchildren, their future in this country, and how they are going to be able to afford to live here, to afford to rent and to afford to buy an affordable home. I welcome and support this bill, Minister, which is about protecting renters. We're moving swiftly on this as a government, and I welcome your work and your colleagues' work in the department on this. Following last week's government approval for the urgent drafting of the legislation to extend and expand the operation of the rent pressure zones, we are now bringing this legislation to the House here today. While the rental measures announced have been necessarily complex, and they have been for what is a very complex issue to respond to the different situations that we are seeing in the rental market, it is important that we provide clarity, stability and certainty for the rental sector, including those who rent and those who let properties. And there was a balance to be struck here. There was a balance between trying to get more investment into the private market, which is absolutely essential, while also protecting renters. We have some of the most protective measures in the rental market in Europe, and some of the highest regulations across the European Union. It is important as an interim measure for all tenants to be protected as soon as possible under the current rent increase restrictions that apply to the RPZs. This bill provides that necessary protection for all tenants until the 28th of February 2026. The bill provides for a 2-month extension until February 2026 to the operation of the existing rent pressure zones. It also provides for the deeming of non-rent pressure zones to become rent pressure zones, including my own constituency, from the day after enactment of the bill. This is about providing certainty, clarity and stability for the rental market. It is important as an interim measure for all tenants to be protected, Minister, as soon as possible under the current rent increase restrictions that apply to RPZs. This bill provides that necessary protection for all tenants. The simple fact of the matter is that we have record level of investment in housing in this country, state investment, but state investment alone cannot fix this problem. I recognise that supply has increased, but we have a long way to go. But a big part of that measure simply has to be the private market. The state is doing an enormous amount of work, needs to do an awful lot more, but opening up investment from private investment coming into the market and building the apartments in particular that we need on scale will be an absolute key component of how we start to reach those targets. While I'm on my feet, Minister, and discussing housing, I'm going to go slightly off this, but take the opportunity yet again in this House to mention log cabins, modular builds or modern methods of construction. Minister, I welcome what has been done by government to date and what has been spoken about to date. We need to see action and urgent action, but we need to go beyond the exemption to planning for the backyard dwelling and go to more modular units, more log cabins, where it is appropriate, where planning is appropriate, where we can get connections to utilities, wastewater treatment, etc. But there is a place for them in this country. There is a place in the market for them. I am convinced of that. For young people in this country that want their own home, for young people that have a site at home that want to build it, the only way it would be affordable is through those. And I would ask you to seriously take that into account. Minister, I look forward to supporting this bill here today. I look forward to introducing more measures and more protections for renters that are currently in the market, but also spurring on supply from the private sector, along with all of the massive work that has been done by public investment in housing in this country at the moment.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Deputy Simmons.